You're a pastor and you have a conscientious objection to the jab. What do you do? The questions are getting a little bit more urgent, aren't they? This is Wretched Radio. Don't know how much news you expose yourself to, but here at Wretched, courtesy of you, you send a lot of stuff to idea@wretched.org, and I have for you a slew, that's right, that's a lot, a slew of stories that indicate a Christian must think through the issues du jour, which are also the issues of the day, perhaps a little bit more intensely as we see the governments around the globe and businesses as if they're partners in an agenda trying to make people do what their conscience says, I don't wanna. Let me take you first of all to Louisiana. Louisiana, the largest health system, is now going to fine the employees who have, you're going to say, what? They don't have a vaccine passport? No, their spouse isn't vaccinated. That's right. Ochsner, I think that's how you pronounce it, Ochsner Health will start charging employees $200 per month or $100 per pay period if their spouse or partner is unvaccinated. Whoa. Is it going to be long before any Christian who might have a legitimate biblical reason to not get the vaccine, will they have safe harbor anywhere? Looks like the harbors are being shut down. They most certainly are in Canada. Canadian pastor, you maybe remember this fellow. His name is Pastor Arthur Pawlowski. As the name suggests, he's Polish. And he was running a church in Canada when he had the door, ding dong. The authorities want to come in and just watch. And he sent them packing pretty aggressively, frankly. But he told him to go away because he's from Poland and he knows what communism in a heavy tyrannical hand feels like. Not fun. Well, he's been fined and he's been spending the last several months touring the United States trying to warn Americans, if it's happening in Canada, it can happen in America. Now, we'll see. This is not a Christian comment. This is just a commentary on the fact of the matter. There's just more guns in America. Canada, Australia, I believe they had the buyback program. That might be about the only, and again, I'm not talking about from a Christian perspective. I'm not telling you to fire up your arms and fire away. I'm just saying that could be what's causing the roll to be somewhat slowed here in the United States. Arthur Pawlowski landed back home in Calgary following a 4-month tour of the U.S. Customs officials were waiting to cuff him on the tarmac for 2 criminal charges, not adhering to the COVID mandates. Hold on. Story gets better because, it's kooky. It seems to me they could have, I don't know, met him at his home, met him at the church, informed him of his legal rights, encouraged him to seek an attorney for counsel. No, they greeted him at the airport to arrest him. What's most troubling to the pastor was not that he was not that he was not allowed to greet his family who are waiting to see him for the first time in months. His wife was notified of his arrest by reporters. From the pastor, that was Nazi style, communist style, trying to break a man and his family and children by not allowing me to just even say hi after being away for so long. That should sober us all up and think through these issues with an increased degree of intensity. Finally, Australia received this. I've read about this, but John sent an email. Australians that live in the state of Victoria cannot work unless they get the vaccine. My family is looking for an exemption, but it is very unlikely we will get one. Yeah, those loopholes are getting tightened or just obliterated. Please let all of your listeners know about this situation. Our Christian leaders left it too late to fight for our freedoms. Tell everyone to pray for our state and remind them to value their freedoms while they still have it. And then he sent a second email. All employees of churches must be vaccinated, and all people who want to go to church must also be vaccinated. What's a Christian to do? You're in Victoria, and you're a pastor, and you have a conscientious objection to the jab. What do you do? There's a small part of this that I don't think it's going to be a super big deal, but I just keep remembering back in 4th century, 3rd century, really, especially, when Christians would recant at threat of the sword. They were told, you give up on your Christian profession of faith or you die. Some did. And then when the threat was gone, they wanted back in the church. And the elders, the pastors, and in this instance, the early church fathers had to wrangle with it. Well, what do we do with these folks? I sure hope that isn't a parallel to what could happen with the vaccination business. There are a lot of Christians that are saying, I can't do it. And there's a lot of Christians that are saying, no problem. Let's hope when hopefully all of this is done, we don't judge other believers to that degree. Should they be back at the church? They refused to take the jab, or they did take the jab. Probably not an issue that should cause that sort of division. And yet, we do have some questions that we need to consider these days. For instance, is it a sin for somebody who believes it's a sin against their conscience to take the jab to receive the jab by force? Now, you maybe think that's kooky without flying a helicopter. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that the authorities are willing to invade somebody's body under the umbrella of safety for everybody. I remember it was in Douglasville, Georgia. They received a bench warrant that said if somebody gets pulled over for DUI and they refuse to take a breathalyzer, then you can arrest them, take them to the pokey, strap them down, and draw blood. Wow! That was probably just a couple of years ago. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if the lawyers got involved in that or not. But zoink, Scoob, but let's just imagine a scenario. Let's just say, hopefully it doesn't, but let's just say for the sake of a theological exercise, the government says, if you don't roll up your sleeve voluntarily, we'll roll it up for you, and we will inject it. And you legitimately believe this is a sin. Are you sinning? And I think the answer to that question is no. No, you're not. If you have done what you believe is within your power to speak to the government, to tell them your feelings about the issue, I don't think that you're sinning, because you're not doing it because you want to or because you're overriding your conscience. You're doing it under coercion. I don't think that you're sinning. Should a Christian quit their job if under force of taking the vaccination and they believe that it will be a sin against their conscience? And the answer is totally up to them. I don't know what I would do. None of us really do until we're confronted with it, and more brothers and sisters are. I think that, too, would be an issue of the conscience, and we let different Christians make different decisions. Some are going to take the jab, others are not. And I don't think that that should be one that causes us to go, not sure they're really saved. They weren't willing to stand up. Look, it's a coercion. I get it. And it can be heavy for some people, different circumstances for everyone. Let's not cause division over that. Should a Christian sue the government? Should the Christian sue the business? And the answer to that question is, it's definitely up to them. You want to participate in an action against a business or the government? I don't think a Christian is sinning if they do so. I think it's a choice. And I don't think, by the way, we should be telling somebody you must sue or you must not sue. You must quit. You must not quit. You must take the jab. You must not take the jab. These are conscience issues. And Christians are getting ripped to shreds over this subject. It is happening in local churches a lot. Now, I will say this as an aside, a lot of churches, to put it kind of odd phrasing, they're actually benefiting from COVID because more people are coming there. But a lot of churches are being torn asunder. That's right. I said asunder. Do you know that in all of the speeches that have been given in the world over the last 200 years, not once has a non-Christian used the word asunder? That's our word. It's a wedding word, by the way, based in Genesis 2. What is a Christian to do if the government continues to tighten its grip? Perhaps there are 7 things. Next on Wretched Radio. Hey, I'm Todd. I'm going to be your Uber driver. What's your destination?
2054 Kemple Lane.
No. Your eternal destination. The liberals, they brought in Pelagianism. It's the old Sabellian heresy, denying the Trinitarian Godhead. 3 persons, 1 God, not to the Sabellians. No. They would say that it's actually just 1 God.
Please, somebody!